Alright, I'm gonna put this in first because I did a lot of shit I didn't need to and made it a lot harder for myself. So when you see me disconnecting all those wires up there, you don't need to do that. Just disconnect them from, instead of taking them off the engine, you can drop it with the engine. And then just back here, the driver's side rear wheel, there's these three connectors that you can just disconnect. And then you just have to take off, you know, the hangers and the zip ties and shit. Doing how that works. So when you see me doing that, you don't have to do that. But I'm gonna put this first. For taking the drive shafts off, you're gonna want a 10 mil and a 15 mil. 10 mil 8-point socket on the actual, you know, nut head. I already broke this one loose there. And then a 15 mil on these back, you know, half nuts. It's really tight with the 15. Sometimes you can't get it on, but. And then just squeeze these two wrenches together. And once you have all of those off on both sides, this will just pull off. There we go. Now just to do the same for the front. Probably would have been smart to take the front off first. I guess I'll go tie down the brake. Alright, we got the front shaft disconnected from the engine. Haven't taken it off the axle yet, but I think I'm just going to leave it connected up here. I don't really care. But I need to take off this bottom rub guard, this bottom panel. And to take this off, we need to take this front plastic guard off. So, and then that will let us take off the drive shaft. All of those bolts are 12 millimeter, by the way. Both those guards off, and I have the front just bungeed up there out of the way. Gotta drain the transmission now. It's just a standard 3/8 inch socket head. There we go. Next I'm going to remove these two coolant lines, this one and this one on the transmission, these two coolant lines, and the oil fill line. Next we're going to remove this 12 millimeter bolt on the dipstick and this 10 millimeter on top to remove this grounding strap. Another grounding strap right here and another one right here that we're going to remove. Back here on the transmission, we're going to take off this vacuum line going from, well, air line going from the air filter to the up top here. It's just fitting just like this. Electrical line's going to the starter, as well as this connector right here to get most of the wiring off of the transmission off. Well, I broke it, so we're gonna remember green goes to the green, and this black and yellow one goes back to the yellow when we put it back. Alright, we got the starter wires off. The exciter wire is just a pull, by the way. It's just to take this hanger off to get the wiring harness off the transmission. And then later, when we go up front towards the engine, we'll disconnect the rest of this harness. Alright, while we're still back here at the back of the transmission, we're going to disconnect these two linkages and this linkage up here. It's a little hard to see for this is for the 4-wheel drive. This one I've already bent out of shape. This one haven't touched yet. It's just a cotter pin. You know, take the cotter pin out after you bend the leg straight and just pull the pin out, and then you should be able to disconnect the linkage. Got the two linkages undone and the one on the other side too. It's a pain in the ass. Now you're gonna loosen these up so you can pop these up and over. And also, after we get these popped off up and over, we'll go ahead and disconnect the clutch. To do that, you just pull on this. I don't know if you can really see in there, but this side of this arm is open, so you just need to pull the cable through until you have enough room. Let's see if we can do it while holding the camera. Using a 19 mil. I got those disconnected. Got the clutch done. What I did is I used a screwdriver to pry the arm up and then a pair of pliers to pull down on that. Now we'll do the same for where to go. Yeah, that linkage up here, but that cable is we're gonna have to get from the top. So we'll do that now. So now we're up top, just on the access door. We're gonna remove this fuel line here. It's just a clip right here, and then it goes into the carb. And then we're gonna remove this line we just disconnected from the back. Just a little bolt right there. Just to move it out of the way so we can get to that right there to loosen it, to take the rest of that linkage off. And then once we have that off, we're gonna take the intake off, just the intake air off, to get to the that wiring harness we disconnected earlier. And to get this off, it's just 2 screws here and one on the back side here, and then it's just there's, I don't know if you can see it, another fuel line, and then that rubber line down there that you see. Skipped over some stuff. Took out 4 screws of that white cover you saw right there over the carb, and that just popped off. To get to that though, you need to undo a bolt here to get all these lines moving. I'm not gonna disconnect this. I just can't get to it, so it's gonna float over. It should be fine. And this line right here is that brake line that we unmounted from here and here. So now we'll start disconnecting. Well, I disconnected the spark plug wires. Now we're gonna start disconnecting these lines. Sorry, I forgot to film some of this. I took off this bracket down here that was holding this cable. I couldn't get to that, so I just removed the bracket from that. It's just 2 bolts. And then I disconnected the alternator. The rubber fell apart on me. And now I am going to disconnect these 2 wires, and that should be able to get the rest of the wiring harness off. Well, I wasn't paying attention, didn't look before I pulled, and I didn't see that there was, let's see, this wire which went to the back of the alternator. I'll show you that in a second. And then this wire which runs down here, and I pulled on it and it broke the wire. So we'll fix that once we get the engine out. Stop to think for a second. This harness that we're doing all this work, disconnecting stuff out there, taking the alternator off, is completely unnecessary. It would have been a lot easier if I just followed this back here and realized that I could have just unplugged it right here. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll just be able to drop this without messing with those wires anymore. Alright, now I think it's time to get it strapped up and start taking off the mounting brackets and drop this thing. So mounting bracket wise, you have one here, right here, and then on the other side, just right opposite. And then you only got one more in the front, very front, right here. And that's, after we get these off, should be ready to drop. You can ignore the alternator, you don't need to take that off, I'm just an idiot. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this strapped up and then break those bolts and see if there's anything I missed. Alright, we got it strapped up, and I even started lowering it a little bit, and then, you know, doing the check to see if I forgot anything. And right now I can see, the only thing I see that I forgot to do is disconnect the pedals from the carb. Let's see, can I? It's leaning over, so let's see if there's anything stuck over there. Alright, it was just pinching on something. Just a hose, so let's see. Let's go the rest of the way now. Come on, Woody. Is there something cut? Just 1 second. Well, no shit, I forgot to disconnect those. Raise her back up, I guess. Alright, try 3, let's see. Something up front, what the fuck? think I'm gonna need to hold that drive shaft out of the way. Yep, I was just catching on that dipstick on the drive shaft, so try 4. Now what? Uh-oh. There's the hose. Oh, that's not even disconnected. Well, that's fun. Okay. So I took the ring off, but I forgot to take this hose off, so that'll do it. Let's raise back up. Yes, sir. Okay, everybody. Got it all apart. Now I've identified the problem. Don't worry, it's gonna be a quick, easy fix. Let me show you how. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see if I got everything. Turn the choke on.